Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Coach Chad here, co-founder of the Next Level Coaching Academy and founder of the Fit CEO podcast by Chad Molyneux. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hopefully you guys are rocking and rolling on whatever weekday or weekend that you are listening to this. So the past couple of weeks, we've done my story, right? We've done one strategic. We talked a little bit about mindset. Today, I want to go back with strategic. Like I've told you guys in previous podcasts before, my goal and aim with this is to actually give you tangible strategy so that you guys can step away and actually get results in your online fitness coaching business. So what we're going to be talking about today is objection handling. One of my favorite things about what I do is handling objections in sales. And like I've talked about before, sales is probably the most transformative skill that I've acquired over the years that I've been doing business, right? More specifically, objection handling. There was a point, we'll get into a mini story here and then we'll dive into the actual tangible content. There was a point where I was really, really, really terrible at sales. I think everybody starts off and they're absolutely terrible at sales, which makes sense because, they don't have the skill and you've never really done it, right? So, the first couple of sales calls, palms sweaty, stuttering over my words, like absolutely just really, really horrible. And I think there was a stint where I got like 12 no's in a row. And after the 12th no, I was like, okay, well, I really have two choices. I just am going to suck at this and I'm never going to grow my online fitness coaching business if I don't learn how to handle objections, or I'm going to get really, really good at this. And I chose the latter. And I dove into a book. It's called The Closer's Survival Guide by Grant Cardone. Great book. Highly recommend you get it, especially in the audio version. On the back half of that book, what he does and why I love it so much is I think there's 100 different objections that he goes over, and how it works and how the framework is he'll say the objection, and then in audio he'll say how he would handle the objection. So where this story is going is Caitlin one time texted me, and she was at the Arnold in Columbus, and she texted me and she said, I lost my key and I was back in Connecticut. Could you drive to Columbus and give me my spare key? And it was an 8-hour drive. And I said yes. And I drove through a massive snowstorm. I think it was like on the spectrum of like, there's, how hurricanes have certain like categories. Snowstorms apparently have categories too. And this was like, a category 1 or a category 2 snowstorm. So, people should not be driving in it, especially when you have a 2-door Audi that is not meant to be driving in snowstorms. But being the good boyfriend that I was, I said yes. And I drove 8 hours from Connecticut all the way to Ohio in a snowstorm. And I listened to that one book for the whole entire 8-hour drive there, an 8-hour drive back. So a total of 16 hours. And I committed that time to getting really, really good at sales. Okay. And when you get really, really good at sales and you get really, really good at objection handling, you obviously come up with the objection handling that you like, right? The ones that have worked for you. So the one that I'm going to go over today is too much money. Right. And then this is a common one. The money objection is a really common one, right? There's spouse, I don't have the time. This isn't for me. Or, sometimes I've even had like, I don't like you, which is an interesting one to navigate. Maybe we'll break that one down. Always get a good laugh out of those ones. And then you have the money objections, right? And the money objections are probably the most common ones. So that's why I'm going to go over it in this podcast. All right. So first thing I want to go over is you have to look at all objections as fears, because at the end of the day, everybody's scared, right? They're scared to start their weight loss journey. They're scared to start their online fitness coaching business. Everybody's scared, right? And usually people are afraid to admit the fact that they're just fearful. So what do they say instead? They say things like, oh, I have to talk to my spouse. Or they say things like, oh, that's too much money. Or, oh, now's not the right time, right? Which is really a cover for the fact that they are fearful. And once you can understand this, you can see through objections and actually help people overcome those objections. And that's why I'm starting off with this, because changing anything or acquiring any skill first starts with you changing your framework in the way that you think, right? So you have to now adopt this framework that all objections are just fears, even if they're not, right? I'll go into every call, and anytime I get an objection, I say, this is a fear. I got to help the person overcome their fear, right? And more specifically with the money objection, People have money. They're just afraid to spend or let go of the money that they have. I can tell you, and I'll be straight up and honest. This might be, maybe judgmental, but I used to go onto calls with preconceived notions of saying, this person probably doesn't have money. And then they surprise me and turn around and pay in full. So I switched going into the call, anticipating if they have money or not, and just started going into all calls saying everybody has money. People are just afraid to spend their money. It's not the fact that they actually don't have the money. So really important that you at least take away those frameworks that everybody has money. They're just afraid to spend it. And then the second aspect of that is all objections are just fears. People will just say some bullshit in order to, protect themselves from having to actually confront their fears. All right. So now let's get into the actual strategics of handling hey, Chad, it's too much money. All right. So first rule of thumb is always agree. And the reason that you always want to agree is because you can't handle an objection unless you're on an even playing field. If your way of handling objections is to create an argument, or the complete opposite of that, which is just to say, okay, yeah, whatever, and just believe them at their word, then you're going to have a really, really hard time at sales. Because the only way that you could actually handle a said objection is if you're on an even playing field. You as the salesperson, them as the customer on an even playing field can figure it out together and move forward. Okay. So a very simple way to get on an even playing field is to agree with their objection, even if it sounds ridiculous. Even if they say, Chad, you know what? I think this program's too much money. You know what, Tom? I 100% agree with you. It is definitely too much money, right? Because what's the opposite of that? I say, Tom, it is not too much money. And the reason it's not too much money is blank, 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 blank. Now I sound defensive. Now they put their guard up and now they're not open to actually hearing me out. But if I say the agree, right? And they're like, oh, wow. Okay, cool. He agrees. Now they're a lot more open to hearing what I have to say next. And what I say next is extremely important and really gets the prospect on that even playing field that I'm talking about. Okay. So usually what I'll say is totally agree 100%. It's definitely too much money. But here's the thing. I absolutely want to be able to help you. I loved that you said that your goal is you want to lose 30 pounds. And the reason that you want to do it is to help out your kids, right? So I don't want to be the person that isn't allowed to help you out because, like you said, it's too much money. What if we came up with a plan, a financial plan that is fair to you, but also fair to the business? Would you be open to having that conversation? See what I did? I agreed with them. I told them, hey, I want to be able to help you out. I loved your goal. I loved your reason why. Would you be open to having a conversation to figuring this out together where it's fair for you on the financial front, but also fair to the business on the financial front? If they say yes to that, then you're on an even playing field and now you can work your magic. And we're going to go over the 4 different ways that you can work your magic here. Now, before we go into the 4 different ways, if they say no to that, they're probably not lying on the fact that they don't have money. Usually, if they say that, Chad, is just too much money, I just don't think I could do it. If they say that like 3, 4, 5 times, at that point, I believe that they're not lying. And I believe that it's not a fear. And I believe that they actually probably don't have the money, especially after I say, hey, I'm willing to have a conversation with you to figure out the finances where it's fair to you and fair to the business. If they say no to that, then pretty much at that point, you have to be like, okay, cool. Yeah, maybe they don't have the money at this point. Move them into your free group or move them, into your email list or somewhere where they can stay in tune with you. And then, set up a follow-up call and get off that call. But let's say that they do say yes to that, right? Let's say they agree, they want to have the conversation, they want to figure it out together. Now right? And you have this in your back pocket too. Because they agreed, now they have the money, but they just want to make sure that it makes sense for what they're about to purchase. So now you have 4 different options. I'm going to go through each of the 4 different options. All right. Option number 1 is more service, less cost. All right. And what that means is, let's say everybody should have packages for, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Everybody should have length of term packages because it also helps you in the pricing spectrum. Let's say you pitch them your 3-month, right? And let's say your 3-month was $400 a month. right? And they're like, $400 a month, it's too much money. It doesn't really make sense. What you can say is you can say, hey, totally get that. What if we moved you to our 6-month package? Our 6-month package is actually only $300 a month. So you would immediately save $100 a month. How does that sound to you? Right. And you can kind of place them on packages that make more sense for their monthly budget. Right. Let's say your 9-month is 275. Let's say that your 12-month is 250. Right. You can place them on whatever package they think makes more sense for their financial budget. The way that I like to word it is I like to word it as if they're going to get more service for less cost. Right. Hey, you know how we talked about doing 3 months for $400 a month? I can actually put you on a package where you're going to get more service and it's going to cost less. What if we moved you to our 9-month package? Our 9-month package is actually only $275 a month. So right there, you're saving about 40% of the cost. How does that sound to you? More times than not, when you word it that way, right? They're getting more and it's going to cost less. They're probably going to say yes. All right. So that's option number one. Option number one is more service, less cost, placing them on a longer term package so they get more service, right? But it's going to cost them less on a monthly basis because it's a longer term package, right? That's option number one. All right. Option number two is the same package, but extended payment plan, right? So option number three is downselling, and downselling is to a lesser service that costs less. But let's say that you feel like they truly need the better service, right? Let's say that your two services are weekly check-ins, and then you have a downsell where it's like once a month check-in, but you truly feel like this particular client needs the weekly check-in, right? And you don't feel morally obligated to downsell them because you don't think that they would actually get results even if they said yes to your monthly check-in option. At that point, I like to do option number two, which is same service, and you're doing it because you want them to get the result, but you're going to extend the payment plan. And I would say it just like that. I would say something to the effect of, hey, look, I do have cheaper options, but being honest with you, and this is my professional opinion, I actually really think you need the weekly check-in. I think we talked about this earlier in the call. You said you need more accountability. To me, it doesn't make sense to put you on our once a month check-in because I actually don't think that you would be getting a result. And to be honest with you, I think it would be a waste of money. But what I can do for you is I know we talked about $1,200 over the course of 3 months, right? So $400 a month. I can give you that 3 months of service on a 4-month payment plan. So that $1,200 divided by 4 now actually becomes $300 a month opposed to $400 a month. How does that sound to you? See what I did there? I basically negated the downsell, told them that I think this package is the best because I think it will actually get them results, which shows that I'm actually true to my character and want to help them. And then I took a 3-month package, which is $1,200, right? Split up over 3 payments of $400. And I said, great, it's still going to be 3 months of service, but we can extend the payment plan out to 4 months. So now instead of $400 a month, it will be $300 a month. So you'll be saving $100 a month spread out over a longer period of time. Makes sense? Good. You want to do it? Great. All right. So that's option number two. Option number three is the downsell, right? So everybody should have a downsell. And a downsell, like I mentioned before, is something that is cheaper in cost, but less in value, right? Simple explanation would be, like I said, if you do weekly check-ins, your downsell could be bi-weekly check-ins, or your downsell could be no check-ins at all, just a workout program and a nutrition plan, right? But for me, you have to feel as though they would still actually benefit from it, right? And the way that you can word this is if you actually think they would benefit from your downsell, is you can say, hey, look, if I'm being honest, maybe you're right. Maybe you don't need all the fancy things. Maybe you don't need the WhatsApp and the 24/7 access. Maybe you just need a workout plan and nutrition plan. Do you feel like if we got you a workout plan and nutrition plan that you would actually take action on it and get results? If they say yes, great. Now you're in. Say, okay, cool. So the cool thing about this is it's going to be about 50% of the cost, or, you could say whatever it is, $500 less, $1,000 less. I'm just going to use 50% of the cost for this example. So you say, great. The good news is it's going to be 50% of the cost. It's only going to be blank, and you're still going to get a customized workout plan. You're still going to get a customized nutrition plan. The only thing that you're going to miss out on is those weekly check-ins. But like you told me before, you don't think that you need those. Would you be open to this option? Yes, great. Move forward, right? So once again, you can utilize the downsell as something that is cheaper in cost, but will still get them a result. You have to tell them that it will still get them a result, because the last thing that they want is something that's not going to get them a result. So you have to say, and the way that I like to word it is, you're still going to get X, you're still going to get Y. The only thing that you're going to miss is Z. So in their mind, they're like, okay, cool. I'm still getting blank and blank. I'm only missing out on this. He says it's going to get me a result. It's 50% of the cost. No brainer. Let's move forward. Cool. So that's option number 3. Option number 4 is the upsell. Okay. So a lot of people are going to be like, I didn't even think that I could do this. When people say it's too much money, it's extremely subjective. And what I mean by that is, maybe it's too much money for what you're offering. All right. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a 1 time a week check-in package, right? Let's say that 1 time a week check-in package is $2,000, right? $2,000 for 3 months, right? Which I believe is like $667 a month, right? And let's say that person says, I think that's too much. Let's say you have another package that is daily support, and it's $3,500 for 3 months. Like I said before, it's too much money is subjective. Maybe that particular person thinks that the $2,000 for a 1 time a week check-in is too much money. But maybe that same person doesn't think that $3,500 for 3 months is too much money for daily support. See what I'm saying here? This is more about the value than the actual cost of the package itself. So at this point, one of the questions that you can ask is, you can say, hey, totally get that it's too much money. Do you feel like you need more service, or do you feel like you need less service? Some people, and I shit you not, some people will say, I actually feel like I need more service, more accountability. To which at that point, you can say, great. Well, I do have this option. It's daily support. You could text me as much as you want. You're going to get the customized plan. You're going to get the customized nutrition. You'll still get the weekly check-ins on top of the daily support. And guess what? It's only $3,500 for the next 3 months. Sound good to you? You may be surprised, but some people want the extra support. And like I mentioned before, they think what you were previously offering was too much money comparative to the value. Okay? Excuse me. Like I said, it's a different way of looking at it, but it is a very, very valid way of handling this objection. And like I said, the best way to ask this question is, hey, great, I totally get that it's too much money. Do you personally feel like you need more service or less service? And the way that they answer that, if they say more service, you know that you could pitch your higher option. If they say less service, then at that point, you know you can go ahead and do the downsell. So they actually answer the question for you, and they actually tell you where you should be going, so that you're not playing a guessing game, and you can land on exactly what they need. Because at the end of the day, it's too much money is comparative and relative to what you previously pitched. And maybe, who knows, maybe the higher package, they can justify the price for what they're going to be getting more distinctly than the other package that you pitched before. All right. So those are the 4 options. That's the too much money handling objection. I liked this one. I think I'm going to do more of these. Like I said, we got the spouse, we got the time. There's tons of objections out there, and I'll get the ball rolling on them. But guys, I super appreciate you listening to the podcast. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. Quite honestly, the way that we grow is all word of mouth. So if you could take a screenshot of the podcast, post it up on social media, and tag me, that would be super appreciative. Thank you guys, and let's have a banging week.